What's up, you guys? It's your host, Galadon. More Clash Royale action. Now, you guys had asked to see a little more of my free-to-play, non-legendary having account right here, Gala Don't Gem. And so I've been playing it a little bit more recently. Still have never seen a super magical chest, nor have I ever seen a legendary, but we're working our way on up, trying to get to Arena 6, maybe unlock more of those legendaries so there's a better percentage chance of getting one. And on the way, I unlocked the freeze spell for the very first time and put this deck together, kind of a hodgepodge of different types of units. Yes, I just said hodgepodge. And not a hut spam deck, but definitely I like the idea of having one structure that can serve as defense, a distractor, and also generating those spear goblins. It's such a great little strategy to chip away that chip damage. 50 or so hit points at a time can really devastate a tower over a 3-minute battle. And so that's what I've done here. I'm trying to drop down that hut whenever I can. And here comes one of the most rewarding things in the game, the Valkyrie on an entire mess of skeletons. Just love that spray. She's covered in it, but the skeleton army goes down and the Valkyrie is going to move forward, get to the tower almost. Not sure if that was a great move there, the opponent having to drop that Inferno Tower just to deal with a Valkyrie, and so that is going to help play into giving me that elixir advantage. You can see I'm about 4 elixir ahead right now, and I'm going to do my best to capitalize on this, dropping the Goblin Hut, going the other direction, trying to avoid that Inferno Tower, and now I've got to deal with this giant. Going to use lots of small units to do that. Luckily, he doesn't have anything to really control a big group of smaller units. I dropped the spear goblins on the right-hand side. The idea being here, they would help take down the giant and then move down the right. Sort of worked out. They do move down there, and we get a few more points of chip damage off that right tower. Clear the assault on the left, Musketeer, and now we go for our first push with the Hog Rider while my opponent goes for his big push with the Prince down the right-hand side, and that Prince one-shots my poor Musketeer, but I didn't have anything else available, so not a great move right there. And the Spear Goblins finish him off. Watch this Valkyrie. Beautiful drop of the Valkyrie, just squeezes herself in. She prevents those goblins out of the barrel from doing any more damage, moves forward, but in the meantime, my opponent having dropped an Inferno Tower, not so sure about that choice, but it will deal with the Valkyrie as he moves forward with a giant Prince Goblin push down the left-hand lane. Going to be a little bit tougher to deal with, but luckily, once again, he doesn't have arrows, fireball, zap, so I can use tons of smaller units to combat the giant and the Prince, clear it out, and I've got a big push coming down the left side. At the same time, he throws the Goblin Barrel down the right. Arrows get that out of the way, and I'm just about to take down that tower. There is the Hog Rider. The freeze, too late, fail freeze, and I cannot get that last shot from the Hog Rider in. Going to have to resort to, well, a cheap tactic, and that would be arrows on that left tower to damage it. Now, of course, being level 6, one shot of arrows will not do the trick. I'm going to have to cycle all the way around once again. Musketeer, Goblins, just dropping whatever I can, trying to cycle through all of my cards. It's a race against the damage coming. I freeze his group of units, get the arrows up. Here it goes. Good game. And the game is over with 29 seconds left in overtime. A close battle. Dare I say clutch freeze? That was close, stopping the giant from taking that tower down. So obviously, as you can see in these replays, I definitely have some errors I'm making in just about every battle. It is hard for me to come up with a flawless battle. I'm always making little mistakes, and the key is not letting your opponent capitalize on those. And, well, honestly, I'm a level 6 player in Arena 5, so I'm not one of those guys that's pushing to 3,000 trophies with a level 3 account or whatever it is. I'm closer to your average player, and this is probably what the average player is going to see. So right here, just trying to talk about using defensive strategy counter pushes, sitting back on defense, using the right counter cards like the arrows right here would have been great, would have been a good idea. Well, I don't know. I have no idea what I was thinking. Throw up the oops, and those skeletons just absolutely wrecked me. I just about lose that tower. The hut goes down, of course. The dragon skeleton combination, I just vapor locked on the arrows right there and did not throw them down. At least now I do know that he's got the skeleton army and I have my arrows. And that's one of the big keys, I would say, to dealing with any deck. For instance, the balloon. Now that I know he has the balloon, I need to keep my Musketeer on the ready. It's really the only card that's going to help me defend against the dragon. Again, the arrows are going to help me defend against the skeleton army. So he's kind of taking weapons out of my arsenal on offense, because if I'm smart, I'm going to wait and use those on defense the next time he drops that unit. So here is the dragon once again. I've got to try to cycle around to that musketeer. Hopefully the spear goblins are going to stall the dragon a little bit. I decide to push with the hog down the right-hand side. He comes in with a skeleton army. This time I drop the arrow, but it's not in time. The arrows, they do take out the skeleton army, but too slow, too little, too late. And the hog maybe gets one shot in. Now we have gotten that tower way down, so it looks good. And again, it's not about, with a deck like this, pushing with one big push and having to take down the tower. With so many low elixir cards, 3.4 average elixir cost, I am able to cycle around to the cards I need, like the spear goblins and the musketeer, to deal with that balloon. Beautiful, balloon goes down. Now there's a big counter push, and it looks like this tower has to go down, but he's got the minion horde, and somehow he stops me again. Galadon with the late arrows. I obviously have a problem with getting my arrows out quickly. I don't know what it is, but no, do not say it's age. Anyway, so the arrows too late, a little bit of a waste there. He's coming at me with a prince. I've again got the goblin hut working on the chip damage down the left-hand side. Skeleton's always a great counter to eat up that charge and then drop the musketeer in behind so that the prince uses the charge on a skeleton and the musketeer has more time. There, arrows again. Was that a waste? Maybe, with 2 spear goblins and a musketeer up. I don't think I needed those arrows. Overkill. Both towers go down with 10 seconds left, and we are going to win this one 2-0 as the goblins from the spear goblin hut on the left did the job, and that big push on the right with the hog got the other tower down as well. So it's always been my philosophy that practice makes perfect, and also watching multiple battles with the same deck really helps out. There's only so much you can learn from watching one TV Royale replay, but when you can see a player winning and proficiently, okay, maybe more proficiently than me, using a deck multiple times, it helps out. So this episode, a little bit longer, several battles with the exact same deck, and you'll see, even though I'm making mistakes, I am taking out players that are the same level or higher than me. The next battle after this will be live narrated. Now check out the musketeer on the right side. I've pulled the giant skeleton over far enough to the right that the musketeer that was going down the opposite lane has joined in, did a fantastic job, helped take down the skeleton and the barbarians, and she moves on to the tower. And check out that damage. One of the most dangerous cards. An ice wizard, even a dragon or a miner, you can usually just let it beat on your tower. It's not going to do a great deal of damage. But other cards like the Mini P.E.K.K.A. and the Musketeer, they will just demolish a tower, taking 1,000 hit points or more off. And there you can see a lot of hit points on the right-hand side from the Musketeer. And again, the Spear Goblin Hut kind of pushing down the left. And this kind of gives me that flexibility to go either way. I drop the Hog Rider down the right lane, and it gets there. I was ready with the free spell. You see it's queued up. But since there was no counter, I decided to save that 4 elixir. Had I frozen the tower, the Hog Rider probably finishes it off, but I was just trying to prepare in case he had a big push coming down the left-hand lane. And in this case, I'm pretty happy about it. He's got barbarians and a mini P.E.K.K.A. in there. I'm able to distract them, get the musketeer down. Again, the spear goblins, you can see them starting to stack up out of the hut, and that's going to work really well as a counter push. And that is definitely something you always have to watch out for as a rocket comes. And check out this rocket. That was a bit of a new player mistake. The rocket not doing any damage to the tower. I send in another hog down the right-hand lane. It gets the tower down in 2 shots. Left lane under 1,000 hit points. And, well, this battle is really starting to go my way at this point. We're down to the last minute, and there's another new player mistake. He dropped the skeleton army in front of my Valkyrie. And, of course, I returned the favor by making a mistake of my own, throwing arrows where they obviously were not needed. The Valkyrie makes it to the tower, and now you can see the opponent letting the elixir run full, pretty much giving up. The Hog Rider, big mess of spear goblins moving in, and the second tower goes down. And, well, pretty much admitting defeat. This one is over. He will end up dropping like a dragon or something here at the end, but yes, battle is over. And a 3-crown win, 3 more crowns on my way to my crown chest. And here comes the live narrated battle in which I make lots more errors. All right, this has been going so well with this deck that we're going to try one live with my little baby level 3 Hog Rider. Got to get a couple more Hog Riders. Okay. All right, so now we face a level 7. And we've been facing level 6s, and now that I try this live, it's a level 7. Good luck to me. We'll see what happens. Let's see. I'm thinking Valkyrie back of the tower to start out with. And then we'll just have to wait and see what comes at us here. All right. Okay. Easy enough. Easy enough to counter. Boom. Okay. Now I'm thinking we've got enough elixir to push Hog Freeze on the left-hand side. So we're going to try that. And, well, the Valkyrie, I should have waited longer. I should have waited longer with the freeze spell. That was a mistake. If I waited a little bit longer with that freeze spell, then I'd definitely catch those spear goblins with it. We got some damage there, but not the kind of damage we could have. And now we've got to deal with the dragon. That's actually okay. We've got the musketeer up, and we should get the dragon down. That was a bad move with the spear goblins. Let's see if we can. Okay, we're going to be patient here. Musketeer might get a shot in, if not countered. Going to start with the Goblin Hut now. And 2 shots. Nice, 2 shots. Okay, so Goblin Hut is going to have to get dealt with, or it's going to take out about 500 hit points just in single spear goblins. And at this point, we're just going to sit back and wait. Perfect. Perfect. That's what we like to see. Okay, arrows and a Valkyrie. Beautiful. Beautiful counter right there. Got all of that elixir out of the way. And now, if only I could get that hog up. Interesting placement of the Tesla. I'm not so sure about his Tesla placement, but we will go ahead and wait on that for a little bit. I could have pushed harder right there, but we're just going to sit back. We know that dragon's coming up soon enough. We will wait for that and maybe throw some skeletons out there. Here comes the musketeer. We know the dragon's coming again soon, so let's go ahead and throw another Goblin Hut up. A little bit of hut spam. I mean, not technically hut spam, but alright, and let's stack up some spear goblins and see if we can't get some more damage on that tower. Anything to protect the musketeer a little bit longer. There we go. So she got 2 shots in, and that tower is just about going to fall just to the spear goblins. Again, arrows, but he's got to know by now I had my arrows ready. So I'm thinking Valkyrie for this one. And, oh, a Hog Rider. Okay, so he's got a hog. We'll deal with the hog and get that out of the way and stack up another Goblin Hut. All right, so I'm feeling that he's feeling pretty overwhelmed right now, and it's just a matter of time. We're going to go ahead and push hard now. We're going to send in the Hog Rider and the freeze spell, and we should be able to get through these. Oh, he's pushing on the other side. Okay, we should be able to get through. There we go. We got through the Teslas, and we got the tower down. All right, and his hog, that's why I love the Spear Goblin Hut. It's a great little defense right there. It drags those units in like the hog, the balloon, the giant, gives you the time to deal with them, and we dealt with this guy, and we grabbed a live win. Miracles happen. I am getting better at this deck. Thank goodness. It's funny, listening to that battle narration, I have to say, I'm getting calmer sometimes. Maybe it's the lower level account, but I'm usually all like hyped up and nervous and tight and tense, and maybe that's one of the keys to success is just relaxing, and like Molt always says, to play slow. Don't be eager to spend that elixir, save it up, and play slowly, and I am in love with the Spear Goblin Hut right now. That is my favorite card at lower levels. Overall, I'd say my favorite card, probably the Goblin Barrel. I just think it's such a cool card the way it works. But for versatility, Spear Goblin Hut. And check out this guy's strategy. He's level 7, but okay, I trolled him a little bit there because he threw down the Raging King taunt, and I'm really questioning that placement of the Inferno Tower. Now, to a brand new player, that may seem like the way to go because you're blocking off that lane, but you can see I can push hard down the opposite lane. The dragon has ignored the Valkyrie and the Hog Rider. We're going to get in there, and even with the giant skeleton, that hog finishes off that tower, and a minute in, we've got a big lead, and now we can just switch to defense. He's got the skeleton army. I've got my arrows at the ready. Now it's just a matter of holding that giant skeleton back. Check out these single elixir skeletons turning the giant skeleton around, and then the spear goblins doing the same thing. Bomb never gets anywhere close to even my spear goblin hut, and that was really what my intention was there, was to make sure the giant bomb didn't get dropped and blast my spear goblin hut. I'm throwing up good games. Sorry, a little bit trolled, got to admit. But this guy, he's misplaying his Inferno Tower. It's a great defensive card, but you've got to wait and use it in a reactionary manner, meaning you want to wait for something assaulting your tower, not just place it down and have it be like a tower defense type game where it's balloons TD battles and you're trying to be prepared for an assault. You have to remember that defensive structures, all structures, have a shelf life. They're going to expire after a very short, relatively short period of time, and it is critical that you wait until you need it to put it down. So I'm going to pretty much just save up elixir. I did make a mistake placing 2 of the goblin huts next to each other. He dropped the fireball on those. That didn't help me out. Here goes the Hog Rider trying to get him there. A questionable freeze spell. I'm going to say that was probably a waste of a freeze right there. But check out the spear goblins and the musketeer just doing a number on that tower. Lots of huge units coming at me though. Giant skeleton, balloon, dragon, huge assault. Now a witch. So much elixir being spent on this push. I'm trying to hold him back. There goes the dragon and the giant skeleton, trying to keep them away from the tower. Another giant skeleton. So it's a huge elixir push in the last 15 seconds. Just got to try to hold him off. Questionable use of the skeleton army right here from the other side. I've got so many hit points off of his right lane tower that even if I were to lose the tower here, I'm feeling okay. Last giant skeleton trying to keep it occupied. Sure enough, it's going to work. Time runs out, and we grab the 1-0 win. Now that was going to be the end of this episode, but I kept playing with this deck and had the most awesome battle just a few seconds ago, so I decided to squeeze this one in, facing another level 7 player, and I gotta tell you, this battle does not look good for me early on. I'm throwing up the Angry King taunt right away because anytime I face a higher level player, well, you guys know it's no fun facing cards that are much higher level than yours, and it definitely makes it an uphill climb throughout the entire battle, but I'm not going to give it up, not going to rage quit, not yet. Throwing the Hog Rider down the right lane, try to hog freeze. Great, he's got the archers down so I can freeze those. Hog gets in several shots before the musketeer moves in and takes the Hog Rider down. Lots of damage off that tower, trying to defend against the Valkyrie on the left. My musketeer doesn't survive. I would have loved for her to have survived, so maybe that was a slight misplay of the musketeer. Because does she live even with just a fraction of hit points? Maybe she helps stop this assault on the right side, and I suddenly have lost a tower, and there's what I'm talking about. Doesn't look good. I'm down 1-0 with a minute gone, and he's got a full health tower on the left and the right tower still nearly 1,500, but I'm going to go ahead and drop a second goblin hut. Now, of course, you don't put goblin huts next to each other, and that is why. It seems like every time I do, the opponent whips out a fireball and makes me pay. So I throw another Hog Rider in down that right lane. The freeze spell, not going to use it this time, but the Hog gets in there along with a couple of spear goblins, and we just about get that tower down, 500 hit points, and we're working on the left. Check out the Valkyrie, sneaky Valk, gets into the tower, gets several hundred hit points off that tower before his own defending Valkyrie takes her out. So it looks like I could get that right lane tower down. We're going to try to chip away over there. Here comes some spear goblins. I'm focusing on chip damage on the right-hand side and really hoping to put together a big push on the left at some point. Now, with one tower down, a lot of opponents will not make the move and attack from the middle, and I think that's a mistake. It's a good idea to try to attack from the middle, and eventually this guy does it. See, the musketeer went down right there in the middle. She is going to annihilate my spear goblin hut. Now he's got goblins down. I've got my own musketeer, and she's going to turn around with the spear goblins, and despite the counter of the fire spirits, the spear goblins chip away until the tower goes down, and there it is. 4 hit points before that last spear lands and just barely grabbing that tower. 30 seconds left now. I'm going to counter those archers on the right with a Valkyrie. I'm not sure I like that move. I think the tower probably would have been okay. We lost the spear goblin hut anyway, and my king's tower was never really in danger. But then he drops the musketeer down the right lane. I'm going to ignore that and push hard down the left. Here comes the Hog Rider with a freeze. Beautiful freeze. Just catches everybody with that freeze spell, and that right there is really put me out in the lead. Feeling good right now as time runs down. We're going to hit overtime, but I've gotten that left tower badly damaged, and I know that I could squeeze another Hog Rider in under a dragon. So here comes a big push. Valkyrie, spear goblins, musketeer. Here comes the Hog one more time. Freeze spell is up. The Hog gets a couple of shots off, but those spear goblins are the real heroes, getting so much damage. And we're so close. Arrows will do it right here. 66 hit points left. Here come the arrows. And we grab the 2-1 win right before his big, massive group of troops was headed for my tower. All right, so there you guys go. That is the deck I'm using on my free-to-play account right now. Having a lot of fun. In fact, I don't know if I've ever suffered a loss playing with this deck yet, but of course it's going to happen. We're going to get steamrolled by some really good players, but that is all part of this game. Let me know if you guys try this deck out, if you have similar success. Let me know if you've got another deck idea that I should try out. Hashtag Galafam in the comments for a reply, and I will see you guys all again tomorrow for more full attacks.
Gallydon, I'll give you a hashtag Gallifam. Gallifammin is more like it.